The massive human warship USS Defiant hung in space like a steel giant that had materialized from nothing. One moment, the stars of the Zornian Empire's capital system shined alone. The next, the sleek gray hull of the Earth vessel reflected the light of the distant sun. On the bridge of the Defiant, Captain Eleanor West gripped the arms of her command chair as her vision cleared. The experimental jump drive had worked, but not as planned. Her head throbbed, and judging by the groans around her, the rest of her crew felt the same. "Status report," she ordered, her voice steady despite the pounding in her skull. Lieutenant Ryan Peters blinked hard at his navigation console. "Captain, I don't know where we are. These stars don't match any charted human space." Captain West stood up slowly. The view screen showed an unfamiliar planetary system with rings of ships circling what appeared to be a blue-green world. Hundreds of vessels, all clearly alien in design. "Sensors?" she asked. Science Officer Patricia Gonzalez tapped frantically at her console. "Working at 70%, Captain. I'm detecting thousands of ships. Different sizes, different designs. They appear to be in some kind of formation." "Communications Officer Miller, any transmissions?" Samantha Miller adjusted her earpiece. "Yes, Captain. Lots of them. All in unknown languages. The Universal Translator is working on it." Chief Engineer Frank Martinez stumbled onto the bridge, a cut on his forehead leaving a trail of blood down his cheek. "Captain, the jump drive is offline. Whatever happened, it burned out half the circuits. We're not jumping anywhere anytime soon." "Medical team to the bridge," West ordered into her comm. "And get me a full ship status." "Captain," Communications Officer Miller interrupted, her voice tense. "The alien ships are changing formation. They're moving toward us." Across the void of space, aboard the golden flagship of the Zornian Imperial Fleet, Emperor Kalzar stood frozen before the massive viewing window. The ceremonial cloak of victory hung heavy on his shoulders as he stared at the impossible ship that had appeared in the middle of his Victory Day celebration. "What is that?" he demanded, his four eyes blinking rapidly in sequence. "How did it appear there?" Admiral Vexicor, the Empire's most decorated commander, stepped forward. His scaled skin reflected the golden light of the ship's interior as he studied the intruder. "My Emperor, it appears to be human in design." "Human?" Kalzar spat the word. "From the primitive world at the edge of the seventh spiral arm?" "The same, my Emperor, though our intelligence suggested they were decades away from developing anything close to this technology." The Emperor turned to his admiral, rage building in his chest. "This ship appears in the heart of our empire, during our most sacred celebration, as we prepare to execute the leaders of the rebellion." His voice rose with each word. "This is not coincidence." On the viewing platform below them, the public execution had halted. The condemned prisoners, leaders of the resistance from recently conquered worlds, looked up at the strange ship with renewed hope on their faces. Back on the Defiant, Security Chief Darnell Washington entered the bridge. "Captain, all decks. Report in. Minor injuries throughout the ship, but no major casualties. Whatever that jump did, we got lucky." "I wouldn't call this lucky, Chief," Captain West said, gesturing to the view screen where the alien ships were now clearly moving into. "Attack positions. Lieutenant Commander Carter, what's our weapon status?" Joseph Carter, the tactical officer, looked up from his console. "All systems operational, Captain. Shields at full capacity. Weapons online, but I wouldn't recommend firing first." "Agreed," West said. "We're strangers here. We don't know what's happening." "Captain," Miller called out, "I'm receiving a transmission. The translator has enough to give us the basics." On screen. The view screen changed to show a tall, four-eyed alien, with iridescent scales and an elaborate golden headdress. The Universal Translator converted the alien's clicks and hums into English with a slight delay. "Unknown vessel, you have violated Imperial space. Power down your weapon systems and prepare to be boarded. Resistance will result in immediate destruction." Captain West straightened her uniform and nodded to Miller. "Open a channel." The bridge crew watched as their captain faced the alien leader. Despite the uncertainty of their situation, West's voice didn't waver. This is Captain Eleanor West of the United Earth ship Defiant. Our arrival in your space was unintentional. We are on a peaceful mission of exploration and mean no harm to your people or your empire. The alien's upper eyes narrowed while the lower pair widened, an expression impossible to read. Lies, the alien ruler responded. No ship can appear, as yours did, without intent. You will surrender now or face the might of the Zornian Empire. First Officer Daniel Rivera moved to stand beside his captain. Sir, those ships are moving into firing positions. On the Zornian flagship, Emperor Kalzar turned to Admiral Vexcor. Destroy them now. Whatever technology they use to appear here cannot fall into the hands of the Resistance. Admiral Vexcor hesitated. My Emperor, should we not study their technology first? This form of travel is unknown to us. It could give us advantage over the outer systems that still resist. The Emperor paused, greed temporarily overcoming his anger. Very well. Demand their surrender again. If they refuse, disable their vessel. I want that technology. Captain West received the second message and turned to her officers. Options? Lieutenant Peters spoke up. Captain, I've been analyzing our jump data. The drive didn't just move us. Through space, it seems to have created some kind of temporary wormhole. If we can get it working again, we might have a way home. How long? West asked. Unknown, Chief Engineer Martinez replied. But definitely not before those ships reach us. Communications Officer Miller's console lit up. Captain, I'm receiving another signal, but not from the alien fleet. It's coming from the planet below on a secure frequency. It's in English. The bridge fell silent as a strained voice came through the speakers. USS Defiant, if you can hear this, this is Commander Allen of the Human Colony Horizon. We've been prisoners of the Zornian Empire for 3 years. Please help us. There are 200 of us left. West's eyes widened. A human colony this far from Earth? Impossible. Yet the voice was unmistakably human and desperate. The captain looked at the advancing alien armada, then to the planet below where fellow humans were being held prisoner. The experimental jump drive was dead. Earth was countless light years away, and the Defiant hung in space surrounded by an enemy they'd never known existed until today. Shields at maximum. Weapons on standby, West ordered. Miller, open a channel to the Zornian commander. The crew tensed as their captain once again faced the alien emperor. Whatever she said next would determine if they lived or died in this unknown corner of the galaxy. This is Captain West. We will not power down our weapons and we will not surrender our ship. But I am prepared to talk. The view screen on the Defiant showed Emperor Kalzar's face twisted in surprise. The alien ruler clearly did not expect Captain West's bold response. For several seconds, the bridge was silent as the two leaders stared at each other across the digital divide. You wish to talk? Emperor Kalzar finally said. His upper eyes blinked while his lower ones remained fixed on West. Interesting. Most species beg for mercy when faced with the Zornian armada. Captain West stood tall. We are not most species, Emperor. We are human, and we do not surrender our ship or our people. Behind her, First Officer Rivera whispered, Careful, Captain. We're outnumbered 1,000 to 1. West gave a small nod but kept her eyes on the alien ruler. Our arrival in your space was an accident, but now that we're here, I want to discuss the human prisoners you're holding on the planet below. Emperor Kalzar's scales shifted from gold to a deep red. You spy on us already? Perhaps you are more dangerous than you appear. He waved a clawed hand. Very well. We will meet. A neutral station orbits the fourth moon. You may bring 3 of your people, I will bring 3 of mine, no weapons. The transmission ended abruptly. The bridge crew looked to their captain. He's lying about the no weapons part. Security chief, Washington said immediately. Of course he is, West agreed. And so will we. Officer Miller, what more can you tell me about the human distress signal? Miller replayed the message. It's definitely human, Captain. Colony Horizon. There's no record of a colony with that name in our database, but the signal is authentic. Could be from the LS-9 mission. Rivera suggested. They disappeared 7 years ago while exploring this sector. Everyone assumed they were lost. With all hands, West nodded. Prepare a shuttle, I'll lead the diplomatic team. Rivera, you have the con while I'm gone. If this goes badly, get our people out of here however you can. Captain, request permission to join the away team, Washington said. If there are humans down there, we need to help them. Granted. Miller, you'll come too. We need your communication skills. Dr. Carter, prepare a medical kit. If these colonists have been prisoners for years, they'll need treatment. While the team prepared, Science Officer Gonzalez approached the captain privately. Captain, I've been analyzing the Zornian transmissions. They're discussing more than just us. I believe they're planning a major military campaign, and based on the star charts they're referencing. What is it, Patricia? They're heading toward Earth. Their next conquest appears to be human space. West's blood ran cold. How long? At their current rate of expansion, 2 years, maybe less. West took a deep breath. Keep this between us. For now. I need more information before we alarm the crew. Aboard the Zornian flagship, Admiral Vexcor knelt before his emperor. The meeting is arranged as you ordered, my emperor, but I must caution against this. We should simply take their ship. Emperor Kalzar's long fingers tapped against his throne. Your concern is noted, Admiral. But this human vessel appeared using technology we do not possess. I want to understand how they did it before we destroy them. And what of the Resistance prisoners? The humans know of their existence now. The execution is merely postponed. Once we have what we need from this Captain West, the rebels will die as planned. The Emperor leaned forward. Meanwhile, dispatch our operative. While I distract them with talk, I want someone inside their ship. A slender Zornian stepped from the shadows. Unlike the other Zornians, her scales were muted gray, almost human-like in color. I will not fail you, my Emperor. Their secrets will be yours. 30 minutes later, Captain West, Security Chief Washington, and Communications Officer Miller boarded a shuttle bound for the neutral station. Each carried hidden weapons despite the agreement. The small craft moved away from the Defiant, passing between massive Zornian warships whose weapons tracked their movement. They could destroy us with a single shot, Miller whispered, watching the alien vessels through the viewport. But they won't, West replied. They want something. Our jump drive technology, most likely. Washington checked his concealed phaser. What's the plan, Captain? We talk. We listen. We learn everything we can about these Zornians and why they're holding our people. Then we figure out how to free the colonists. The neutral station grew larger as they approached. It was an old structure, clearly built by a different species than the Zornians. Its curved organic design contrasted sharply with the angular Zornian ships. Scans show minimal life signs, Washington reported. Looks like they've cleared it for our meeting. As their shuttle docked, West received a transmission from the Defiant. Captain, Rivera's voice came through. Chief Engineer Martinez reports. He may have a way to get the jump drive partially functional. Not enough for a full jump, but enough to send a message back to Earth. Good work. Keep on it. We'll be in contact every 15 minutes. Any deviation from that schedule, assume we're compromised. The three humans exited their shuttle into the station's airlock. The air smelled stale but breathable. They walked down a curved corridor to a large circular room. 3 Zornians already waited there. Emperor Kalzar, Admiral Vexicor, and a smaller Zornian West didn't recognize. Captain West, the Emperor said, his voice echoing in the chamber. Welcome to what remains of the Krell Station. An ancient race, now extinct. They resisted us too. West ignored the threat. Emperor Kalzar, thank you for agreeing to this meeting. I hope we can resolve our situation peacefully. The Emperor gestured to a round table. Please sit. Tell me of Earth and how your ship appeared in my empire using technology that should be beyond your kind. Back on the Defiant, First Officer, Rivera paced the bridge. Any word from the captain? Not since they boarded the station, Lieutenant Peters replied. but it's only been 10 minutes. Sir, Lieutenant Commander Carter called from Tactical. I'm detecting an unusual energy signature near Airlock 3. It doesn't match any known pattern. Rivera frowned. Security teams to Airlock 3. Full house alert. As Rivera gave the order, in the lower decks of the Defiant, a shadow moved through a maintenance tunnel. The gray-scaled Zornian operative had boarded during the shuttle launch when the Defiant's shields had briefly lowered. Now she moved silently toward the engineering section, where the precious jump drive technology waited. At the neutral station, Captain West carefully explained their presence. Our jump drive was experimental. We never intended to arrive in your space. We were testing the drive in our own solar system when something went wrong. A convenient story, Admiral Vexcor growled. Yet you knew immediately about the human prisoners. We received a distress call, West replied calmly. From a colony we thought was lost years ago. I want to know why you're holding my people. The Emperor's scales rippled. The humans of Horizon? They violated our space, just as you have. Their punishment was mild compared to most. They live and serve the Empire. They're slaves, Washington said bluntly. They are subjects of the Zornian Empire, the Emperor corrected. As all species will be eventually. The galaxy belongs to the strong Captain West. The Zornian Empire has conquered 12 sectors in the past decade. Yours will be next. On the Defiant, Security Chief Washington's team found nothing at Airlock 3. But deep in engineering, Chief Engineer Martinez was about to make a terrible discovery. As he worked to repair the jump drive, he heard a soft sound behind him. He turned to find himself face to face with the Zornian operative. How did you get in here? He demanded, reaching for his communicator. The operative moved with frightening speed. Before Martinez could call for help, she had pressed a device against his neck. His body went rigid as the neural inhibitor took effect. You will tell me everything about this technology, she whispered, her voice almost gentle as she dragged him behind a console. And then your ship will belong to the Emperor. At the neutral station, Miller noticed a small light flashing on her communicator. Captain, she whispered. The Defiant missed the check-in. West's eyes narrowed slightly. Without breaking her diplomatic smile, she replied to the Emperor. Perhaps we could discuss the release of these colonists as a show of good faith between our peoples. But even as she spoke, she knew something had gone terribly wrong aboard her ship. The meeting was a diversion. The real threat was happening elsewhere, and her crew was in danger. Captain West kept her face calm despite the warning from Miller. Her ship was in danger, but she couldn't let the Emperor see her concern. She needed to buy time. Emperor Khalzar, surely we can reach an agreement about the human colonists, she said. They are not part of your conflict with the Resistance. The Emperor's 4 eyes studied her carefully. You show great interest in these humans. They must be valuable to you. All human lives are valuable to me, West replied. Just as I imagine all Zornian lives are valuable to you. Admiral Vexcor made a sound like a hiss. The Emperor values strength. Weakness is not tolerated in the Empire. Meanwhile, aboard the Defiant, First Officer Rivera grew increasingly worried. Still no word from the captain, and Chief Engineer Martinez isn't responding either. Sir, Lieutenant Peters called from his station. Internal sensors are showing an unauthorized presence in engineering. It's not registering as human. Rivera's face hardened. Security teams to engineering now. Full lockdown on all sensitive areas. And get me eyes on Martinez. In the engineering section, the Zornian operative pressed Martinez for information. The neural inhibitor kept him conscious but unable to resist her questions. Explain how the jump drive creates the wormhole, she demanded. Martinez fought against the device's effects. His words came slowly, fighting each one. The drive creates quantum field. His struggle gave him an idea. The operative didn't understand human physiology well. If he could fake a medical emergency, he might buy some time. He began to gasp and shake. The operative stepped back, confused by his reaction. What is happening? Stop this. Martinez collapsed to the floor, convulsing convincingly. The Zornian leaned closer, trying to determine if this was a trick. That moment of confusion was all Martinez needed. With a sudden burst of effort, he grabbed a nearby tool and struck the neural inhibitor on his neck. The device sparked and failed. Martinez scrambled away, hitting his communicator. Engineering to bridge. Intruder alert. Zornian spy in engineering. The operative lunged at him, but Martinez was ready. He threw a canister of coolant that burst between them, creating a cloud of freezing vapor. The Zornian screamed as the mist touched her scales. At the neutral station, Captain West saw her opportunity when a Zornian aide entered and whispered something to Admiral Vexcor. The Admiral's scales darkened with anger. Problems with your ship, Admiral? West asked innocently. The Admiral glared at her. You distract us while your crew prepares an attack? I could say the same to you, West replied, standing up. This meeting is over. My ship is being boarded, isn't it? Emperor Kalzar also rose. Captain West, you will remain here while we investigate this misunderstanding. Security Chief. Washington moved closer to West, his hand near his hidden weapon. Miller did the same. I don't think so, West said. We're returning to our ship now. You are not in a position to make demands, the Emperor snarled. Two armed Zornians entered the room, weapons drawn. Washington didn't hesitate. He drew his concealed phaser and fired at the ceiling lights. The room plunged into darkness save for the dim emergency lighting. In the confusion, West grabbed Miller and pulled her toward the exit. This way, she shouted to Washington. The three humans raced down the corridor toward their shuttle, Zornian weapons fire striking the walls around them. Washington turned to return fire, giving West and Miller time to reach the shuttle. Get it started, West ordered Miller as they boarded. Washington, we need to go. The security chief backed into the shuttle, still firing at their pursuers. Go, go, go! Miller ignited the engines as West sealed the door. The shuttle lurched away from the station as Zornian fire peppered its hull. Shields holding, West reported. Set course for the Defiant, maximum speed. Back on the Defiant, security teams cornered the Zornian operative in a maintenance shaft. First Officer Rivera spoke through the comm system. You have nowhere to go. Surrender now, the operative hissed in defiance. The Empire does not surrender. She pulled out a small device. Lieutenant Commander Carter's voice came urgently over Rivera's communicator. Sir, she's activating some kind of beacon. It's sending a signal to the Zornian fleet. Rivera didn't hesitate. Stun her now. Security fired through the maintenance shaft opening. The operative collapsed, but not before activating her beacon. On the bridge, Carter reported, Sir, the Zornian fleet is changing formation. They're moving to attack positions. Rivera took the captain's chair. Red alert. All hands to battle stations. Shields at maximum. The Defiant's shields hummed to life just as the Zornian ships opened fire. The ship shuddered under the impact. Sir, Peters called out. Captain West's shuttle is approaching, but they're caught in the crossfire. The small shuttle bobbed and weaved between energy beams. Inside, West held tight as Miller piloted with remarkable skill. The Defiant's under attack, Washington reported. Their shields are up. We can't dock unless they lower them. West to Defiant, the captain called. Rivera, do you read me? Captain? Rivera's voice came through, filled with relief. We have a situation here. Zornian operative found in engineering. She sent a signal to the fleet before we could stop her. I'm aware, West replied dryly as another energy beam nearly hit their shuttle. We need to dock. Now. We'll lower shields on docking bay 2 for exactly 5 seconds, Rivera said. You'll have one chance. Timing has to be perfect. Miller nodded. I can do it, Captain. The shuttle raced toward the Defiant as the massive starship's weapons fired at the surrounding Zornian vessels. For 5 crucial seconds, a small section of the Defiant's shields winked out. Miller piloted the shuttle with surgical precision, sliding into the docking bay just as the shield snapped back in place. West, Miller, and Washington sprinted from the shuttle to the nearest turbolift. Bridge, West ordered. When the doors opened onto the bridge, The view screen showed dozens of Zornian ships firing on the Defiant. The ship rocked with each impact. "Report," West demanded, taking her chair from Rivera. "Shields at 60% and falling," Carter reported. "Weapons operational, but we're severely outnumbered." "Where's Martinez?" West asked. "Medical bay," Rivera answered. "He fought off the Zornian spy but took some injuries. He had a message for you, though. The jump drive can be partially repaired." West's eyes lit up. "How partially?" "Not enough to get us home. But he thinks we can create another small wormhole. Enough to send a message or maybe a probe back to Earth space." West turned to Science Officer Gonzalez. "You said the Zornians are planning to invade Earth space?" "Yes, Captain. Within 2 years, based on their communications." The ship shuddered again as another barrage hit their shields. "We need to warn Earth," West decided. "And we need to get those colonists off the planet." "How?" Rivera asked. "We can barely save ourselves right now." Just then, a new signal came through. Miller adjusted her controls, surprised. "Captain, we're receiving a transmission from the planet. It's encrypted, but it's using an old Earth military code." "Put it through," West ordered. A woman's face appeared on screen. Her human features were weathered, her eyes determined. "This is Commander Kella of the Resistance. We hear you've made the Emperor angry. Good. We want to help." West leaned forward. "You're human." "Half human," Kella replied. "My mother was from Colony Horizon. I lead the resistance against the Zornian Empire in this sector, and right now, Captain, you and I want the same thing." "Which is?" West asked. Kella smiled grimly. "To make the Empire regret ever taking human prisoners." For the first time since the Defiant had appeared in Zornian space, West felt a spark of hope. They were still outnumbered and outgunned. The jump drive was damaged. They were light years from home, but now they had allies. "Commander Kella," West said, "I think this is the beginning of a beautiful friendship." Another blast rocked the ship. Carter called out, "Shields at 40%, Captain. We can't take much more of this." West turned to her crew, determination in her eyes. "Then let's show the Zornian Empire why humans are the most dangerous species they've ever encountered." The Defiant shook violently as another wave of Zornian weapons fire pounded its shields. Warning lights flashed across the bridge as Captain West held tight to her command chair. "Shields at 35%, Lieutenant Commander Carter reported, from Tactical. "We can't withstand this barrage much longer." West turned to Communications Officer Miller. "Keep that channel to Commander Kella open. We need to coordinate." On the view screen, Kella's face remained calm despite the chaos. "Captain, my resistance fighters have ships, not many, but enough to cause a distraction. We've been planning a major strike against the Emperor for months." "Now would be a good time," West suggested as her ship rocked again. Kella nodded. "Agreed. But first, we need to get your colonists off the planet. There are 200 humans being held in the main labor camp. They're mining crystals used in Zornian weapons. If we free them, we not only save your people, but hurt the Empire's production." "How do we get to them?" West asked. "I can guide. A small team passed the security grid," Kella said. "But I need your people to disable the orbital defense platform. It prevents any unauthorized ships from approaching or leaving the planet." First Officer Rivera leaned into view. "That platform is probably heavily guarded." "It is," Kella confirmed. "But right now, most of the Zornian forces are focused on your ship. This may be our only chance." Another blast hit the Defiant. Captain West made her decision. "Rivera, you'll lead a team to that platform. Miller, go with him. You'll need to hack their systems." "What about you, Captain?" Rivera asked. "I'm taking a team to the surface with Kella. We're getting our people out." West turned to Washington. "Security Chief, you're with me. Gonzalez, too." "And the Defiant?" Rivera looked concerned. "Carter will have command," West said. "His job is to keep the ship in one piece until we return, and to prepare the jump drive to send a message to Earth." Lieutenant Peters spoke up from navigation. "Captain, I've been analyzing the Zornian attack patterns. They're deliberately avoiding critical systems. They want to capture the ship, not destroy it. Then let's use that to our advantage, West said. She turned to Carter. Make them think we're more damaged than we are. Draw them in close, then hit them with everything we've got when the time comes. Yes, Captain, Carter replied. Dr. Olivia Carter entered the bridge, her medical kit in hand. Captain, Chief Engineer Martinez is stable but needs rest. He wanted me to give you this. She handed West a small device. He says it's the key to restarting the jump drive. West pocketed the device. Thank you, Doctor. You'll have bridge duty with Lieutenant Commander Carter. If anyone gets hurt, I'll take care of them, the doctor promised. Captain West stood and addressed her crew. This is what we're going to do. We split into 2 teams. Rivera's team will disable the orbital platform. My team will rescue the colonists. Meanwhile, the Defiant will appear vulnerable to draw the Zornian ships in. Once both teams complete their missions, we rendezvous back here, create a wormhole to send a warning to Earth, and then work with the Resistance to find a way home. It's risky, Rivera said. It's our only option, West replied. We're outnumbered and stranded in enemy territory. But we have one advantage they don't expect. What's that? Miller asked. We're human, West said simply, and humans never give up. 20 minutes later, 2 shuttles left the Defiant under the cover of heavy weapons fire. The ship's phasers targeted Zornian vessels, creating a path for the small craft to slip through the chaos of battle. In the first shuttle, Rivera, Miller, and 4 security officers headed for the orbital defense platform. In the second, West, Washington, Gonzalez, and 2 security officers descended toward the coordinates Kella had provided. Captain, Gonzalez said quietly as their shuttle entered the planet's atmosphere. I've been analyzing the data from the Zornian communications. There's something else you should know about their invasion plans. I'm listening, West said, checking her phaser. They're not just planning to invade Earth space. They're specifically targeting Earth itself. They've been studying us for years. The human prisoners aren't just labor. They're test subjects. The Zornians are learning our weaknesses. West's expression darkened. All the more reason to get them out and warn Earth. Their shuttle landed in a dense forest clearing where Commander Kella waited with a small group of resistance fighters. Some were Zornian, their scales duller than the Imperial forces. Others were species West didn't recognize. And a few appeared, partially human. Kella stepped forward as West exited the shuttle. She was tall and strong with human features but slight scaling around her temples and neck. Captain West, she greeted. Welcome to what the Empire calls Mining Colony 6. We call it Hell. Commander Kella, West replied, shaking her hand. Thank you for your help. The labor camp is 3 kilometers north, Kella explained, pointing. Through the trees. Security is usually tight, but we have an advantage today. The sudden appearance of your ship and the space battle have drawn many guards to defensive positions. How many are left guarding the prisoners? Washington asked. Probably 20 Zornian soldiers, Kella answered, but they're well armed and have automated defense systems. Nothing we can't handle, Washington said confidently. Kella smiled. I like your security chief, Captain. Meanwhile, Rivera's team approached the orbital platform. The massive structure hung in space like a metal spider, its weapons currently focused on the battle around the Defiant. We need to dock at the maintenance port, Miller said, using the information Kella had provided. It's the least monitored entry point. Rivera guided their shuttle toward the underside of the platform. Once we're in, how long to disable their systems? If their technology is like what we've seen so far, I'll need 10 minutes, Miller replied. Maybe less if Gonzalez's translation program works on their language. The shuttle docked silently at the maintenance port. Rivera's team exited, weapons ready, and moved through the dimly lit corridors of the Zornian facility. Back on the Defiant, Lieutenant Commander Carter executed the captain's plan. He ordered power diverted from non-essential systems to make it appear as if the ship was critically damaged. Several Zornian vessels moved closer, preparing boarding parties. Just a little closer, Carter murmured, watching the tactical display. On the planet's surface, West's team moved through the dense forest, following Kella and her resistance fighters. They crested a hill and saw the labor camp below, a bleak facility surrounded by high walls and guard towers. There, Kella pointed. 200 of your people are in there working 18-hour shifts in the crystal mines. Many are sick. Some have died. West felt a cold anger settle in her chest. Not anymore. Today they go free. Kella handed West a small device. This will disrupt their communication systems when activated. My people will create a diversion at the south gate. Your team should enter through the maintenance tunnel here. She indicated a spot on her crude map. What about the prisoners? Will they be able to move quickly? Washington asked. They're tired and hungry, but they're also desperate for freedom, Kella said. Once they know rescue has arrived, they'll find their strength. West checked the time. Rivera's team should be reaching the platform's control center now. We need to synchronize our attack. As if on cue, West's communicator beeped. Rivera to West, we're in position. Miller is working on the defense systems now. Good work, West replied. We're ready to move on the camp. Wait for my signal, then disable the platform. West looked at her team, then at Kella and the resistance fighters who had risked everything to help them. These were people from different worlds, united against tyranny. In this moment, she felt the weight of command, but also the strength of the human spirit that had carried her people through countless challenges. Let's bring our people home, she said. West activated her communicator. All teams execute now. She nodded to Kella, who pressed a button on her wrist device. A loud explosion boomed from the south side of the labor camp. Alarm sirens wailed as Zornian guards rushed toward the disturbance. Move, West ordered. Her team followed Kella through the underbrush toward the maintenance tunnel. Washington took point, phaser ready, as they reached the small entrance partially hidden by vegetation. Kella quickly disabled the security lock, and the door slid open. This leads directly to the lower level where they keep new prisoners. The team moved silently through the dimly lit tunnel. The walls were damp, and the air smelled of chemicals and sweat. They encountered no resistance until they reached an inner door. 2 guards inside, Kella whispered, checking a small scanner. They're confused by the explosion but haven't left their post. Washington nodded. I'll handle them. He adjusted his phaser to stun and signaled for West to open the door. When it slid open, he fired 2 quick shots. Both guards dropped before they could sound an alarm. Nice shooting, Kella said appreciatively. This way, West said, consulting the map Kella had provided. The main holding area should be 1 level up. In orbit above them, Rivera's team had reached the control center of the defense platform. Miller worked quickly at the main console while Rivera and the security officers held off Zornian reinforcements. At the doorway, "How much longer?" Rivera called over his shoulder as phaser fire lit up the corridor. "Almost there," Miller replied, her fingers flying over the alien controls. "Their system is complex, but Gonzalez's translation program is working. Just need to..." "Got it. Defense systems going offline now." Throughout the platform, weapons powered down and shield generators deactivated. Rivera smiled grimly. Phase 1 complete. West to Rivera. The orbital defenses are down. You're clear to extract once you have the colonists. On the Defiant, Lieutenant Commander Carter watched as the Zornian ships moved closer, believing the Earth vessel was nearly defeated. "Sir," Peters reported from navigation, 3 Zornian boarding craft approaching. They'll dock in 2 minutes. Carter nodded. Let them think we're easy prey. Maintain minimal shield power. Divert all available energy to weapons, but keep them powered down. We'll only get 1 shot at this. Dr. Olivia Carter monitored the ship's damage reports. We've got wounded on decks 4 and 7. Medical teams are responding. How's Martinez? Carter asked. Stubborn, she replied with a slight smile. He's insisting on returning to engineering to prepare the jump drive. We'll need him soon, Carter agreed. He turned to the tactical officer who had replaced Washington. Prepare to execute attack. Pattern West 3 on my mark. In the labor camp, West's team reached the main holding area. Through a small window in the door, They could see humans in tattered clothes sitting or lying on bare bunks. The prisoners looked thin and tired, but they were alive. "Stand back," Washington warned before firing his phaser at the door lock. The mechanism sizzled and the door slid open. The prisoners inside looked up in shock. Many cowered, thinking this was another Zornian inspection. Then one older man stood up, staring in disbelief at West's uniform. You're from Earth," he said, his voice cracking. "Captain Eleanor West, USS Defiant," she replied. "We're here to take you home." For a moment, no one moved. Then cheers erupted as the prisoners realized what was happening. People cried, hugged each other, reached out to touch the uniforms of their rescuers as if to make sure they were real. The older man approached West. "I'm Dr. Alan Foster, Colony Horizon. We thought everyone had forgotten about us." "No one forgot," West assured him. "We just couldn't find you until now." Kella interrupted. "Captain, we need to move. The diversion won't distract them much longer." West nodded. "Dr. Foster, can your people travel? We need to reach our shuttles." "We'll manage," he said firmly. "Everyone," he called out, "follow these officers. Do exactly as they say. Today we go home." The colonists formed lines, the stronger helping the weaker. Washington took the lead while West and Gonzalez guarded the rear. They moved through service corridors, avoiding the main areas where Zornian guards were dealing with the diversionary attack. Just as they reached the outer door, alarms blared throughout the facility. A voice boomed over the speakers in the Zornian language. "They've discovered the prisoners are missing," Kella translated. "They're locking down the facility." "We're too late," Gonzalez said. "No, we're not," West replied. She activated her communicator. "West to Defiant. Carter, now would be a good time for that distraction we discussed." In orbit, Carter smiled. "Aye, Captain." "Attack pattern West 3. Execute." The Defiant suddenly came to life, its shields powered to full strength, catching the approaching Zornian boarding parties by surprise. The ship's weapon systems, which had appeared offline, lit up and fired precise strikes at the nearest Zornian vessels. 2 exploded immediately while others frantically tried to back away. "Target the main weapons array on that command ship," Carter ordered. The Defiant's phasers lanced out, striking the Emperor's flagship. Secondary explosions rippled along its hull. "Sir," Peters called out, "I'm detecting multiple small ships launching from the planet's surface. Resistance vessels." On the view screen, a dozen mismatched ships rose from the planet, firing on Zornian vessels. The surprise attack from both the Defiant and the Resistance created chaos in the Zornian fleet. Back on the planet, West's group reached the forest clearing where their shuttle waited. "Everyone aboard!" she called out as the colonists hurried into the waiting craft. "We won't all fit," Washington pointed out. Over 200 people crowded around the shuttle designed for 20. "We have ships too," Kella said. "My fighters will transport the rest." West's communicator beeped. "Rivera to West. We've secured 3 Zornian transports from the platform. We're heading to your position now." "Perfect timing," West replied. "We have more passengers than expected." Within minutes, Rivera arrived with the captured transports. The colonists boarded all available ships, relief and hope on their faces for the first time in years. As West prepared to board her shuttle, Kella approached her. "Captain, my resistance fighters and I will escort you past the remaining Zornian ships." "You're welcome to join us," West offered. "Earth would welcome allies like you." Kella smiled but shook her head. "My fight is here. The Empire has held these worlds in fear for too long. Today they learned they are not invincible. More will join us now." The shuttles and transports rose from the planet's surface, breaking through the atmosphere into space. The battle still raged around the Defiant, but the Zornian forces were in disarray. West to Carter. "Status report?" "Shields at 40%. Captain, we've got them on the run. The Emperor's flagship is retreating." West smiled. "Good work. We're coming home with 200 colonists and some borrowed Zornian ships. Prepare for our arrival." As the small fleet of rescue ships approached the Defiant, they saw the once mighty Zornian armada scattered and damaged. The Emperor's golden flagship was limping away, trailing debris. West looked back at the tired but hopeful faces of the rescued colonists. Against impossible odds, they had survived. Now, with the jump drive modifications and the data they'd gathered on Zornian plans, they could warn Earth of the coming threat. The Defiant had arrived in Zornian space by accident, but its appearance had changed the course of an empire. For the first time in generations, the beings of this sector had hope. The legend would spread across the stars of how a single human warship emerged from nowhere, and the empire froze in fear.